Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. I can't even begin to express how excited I am to have this guy on my reviewing slab. I've been waiting for him for so long. It is of course the 86 MX 111 Saboteur Eligos by X-Transbots, aka masterpiece Cyclonus. And of course he does have his little friend with him, Truncheon, who does bear more than just a passing resemblance to a certain nightstick. Now before we go into the detailed review, let's just cover the accessories that come with Eligos. We get the X-Transbots flight stand with this added red adapter. We have a very nice sword for the IDW fans. We have a very nice rust blaster rifle. I love the blue they've used on there. It's a really nice clean metallic blue. Very electric. We have a cyclonic pistol with extending barrel. We get an alternative faceplate. Now there is also an alternative solid eye colouring which can be slotted in as well, as opposed to the light piping eyes that he has. Unfortunately that wasn't supplied with this review sample. And last but by no means least, we get a tiny little version of Avedon. That is absolutely awesome. It's articulated as well. The arms bend and it moves and everything twists and turns. Look at that. Oh, that just makes me really excited for their final release of Avedon. But of course, this is who we are here to talk about. The colour is absolutely stunning on this. Now my camera doesn't really want to pick up the purple. It's very pastely. It's very close to the animation stills I've looked, and it's kind of more season 3 colours than it is the movie, but I'm really okay with that. In hand it looks absolutely stunning. I can't express that enough. The sculpt alone is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that head sculpt. They've managed to capture him fantastically. Now he does have this nice sheen to him, very much like what we got with their Scourge. I like it. It's a very nice, clean, professional finish. Some people said they didn't like the shine. Figures like MP10, they have that shine as well. I think it's very in keeping with the Masterpiece figures. As you can see, the light is just beaming through his eyes there. He looks very evil. Love the black on the chin as well. They really have tried to think of everything. They've given us a really good selection of accessories, and this guy has hit the drawing board so many times. They kept asking fans, what could they change, what could they change, what could they change? And I was like, just hurry up and release it already. Just hurry up. And there we have him. His final form, and it is really nice. It's a very strong, solid figure. There is so much weight in these feet as well. It's incredibly well balanced. X-Transbots and KFC have got so much better at doing the hands as well. They're now very solid and highly articulated. Really good, evil looking hands. So, you know, I love articulated hands because they do make for a much more natural pose when you're holding weapons. Again, like most Masterpiece figures, X-Transbot have included these nubs on each of their guns, which just peg into the inside of the hands. They peg in pretty securely. I mean, you won't even need the fingers wrapped around the gun for it to stay in, but it really does help. It's just nice to have them gripping, because they have ball joints at the knuckles. That then allows us to be able to bend the fingers up and put them over the trigger. Now, as stated, this is still a pre-production sample, but to be honest with you, it feels final. It feels like a very professional, polished piece. Now, scale-wise, for Season 3 and Season 4 shelves, I think he scales remarkably well. Now, he is bigger than Scourge in all of the episodes, and he's actually bigger than Galvatron. He is basically squared up against Ultra Magnus. That is his direct rival. So some people have said that he's actually too tall. I disagree. I think if anything he may be a tad too short, but I really like how it looks. I can never quite remember who became who, and I'm sure this will keep more than a few of you happy. They just look so happy. Right, let's cover Cyclonus's articulation. The ears can move inwards and outwards, so you can display them how you see fit. The head can look left and could look right, can tilt down and can look up. Going around to the shoulders, they can tilt upwards and downwards. Slide the shoulders up and down. We can bring them all the way around on a soft ratchet. You can adjust the back wings. They can tab inwards and outwards and rotate around the arms. You can display them as you see fit. The official transformation is have them over the shoulder and slid into the arm like so. We get an upper bicep rotation. We get a double jointed elbow, but you have to slide this elbow up and then it slides off that hinge and onto this hinge to allow it to bend all the way up. And to bend it back down again, you need to push it back down onto this hinge and then rotate it round like so. We do get a rotation on the wrist, and as previously mentioned, we get a ball joint on the base of each finger and then 2 points of articulation on each. The waist can rotate quite freely. Front skirts can move forward, which allows the legs to come out to the front, come out to the side. There's a rotation at the thigh. The knees, nice rotation there. Going down to the feet, there's so much weight in the feet. The feet are very hefty die cast. They can go down and up. We have a separate point of articulation on the actual toe, and then we get a really deep amount of pivot on those feet as well, so we can hold a very wide stance. So for a big guy, he's pretty dynamic. Now to change the faceplate out, there will be a screwdriver provided. You unscrew these two screws here, pull this back section off, you remove the eyepiece, you then pull the ears off. They're just on sliders, put the new face piece on, and then put the ears back on, the eyepiece in, and put the back piece on with the screws. Right, to get Cyclonus transformed up, you want to push the heel spurs inwards, like so. Then bend the feet at the toes, make sure they're bent right upwards. Bend this section in, and just make sure that that foot section is bent up as far as it will go, so it tucks in and covers up this area here. Untab this inner thigh section, like so. Come around to the outer shin. This section here pulls outwards, like so. Got this panel on the inside of the leg. Just wanted to move that up just a little bit, about 15 degrees. By grabbing this section here, just pull and untab this section here, and then just grab your fingers and pull and rotate the thruster and the wing outwards. Now the thighs are plugged in just where the knee is. You just give that a little tug, pull that out, and then we can lift these knees upwards. Now you'll have these little side flap pieces. You want to make sure they're facing upwards. You want to rotate it around and then give it a 180 degree turn so it's on this section here and this arrow is at the top. Bring the joint over and through and then push that through so it flaps down and it's square against the inside of the shin wall. Squish Cyclonus's ears together and rotate the head 180 degrees, come around to the backpack, and we're just going to separate the cockpit section. Now overlapping these nose cone sections allows us to bring the cockpit all the way down, and this section here is die cast, and if we didn't overlap them they'd actually drag against the sides of this section and that would damage the paint. So once that's all the way through, we can pull these two cover sections out. We can pull and rotate the nose section down. That's going to come all the way down and that's going to tab in either side of these joints. And these sections are just going to come up either side of the nose cone and allow that to tab into place. Flip this section up, and as we bring this section up, you want to just flip this small tab up into this gap here, and as this head passes over, the tab is going to rotate around and that's going to help form part of the cockpit section on the underside. It also gives the head a lot more room inside this long shaft, and we can now tab everything in together. Now these sections here are a bit of a job to tab in, but once they're in very firmly and everything tabs in nice and securely. Now this control panel section is actually sunken down a bit, so you want to just grab this and bring that up. This raises this section up. I think the details on the inside here alone are absolutely incredible. Get your fingers under there and bring that up to the top, and we can flip the seat upwards. I mean, just look at the levels of detailing inside the cockpit alone. And you'll know when you've raised this section up enough, because this will be completely level with the front of the dash. Now come back to this section here that we started with. You want to bring it up, and this section is actually going to rotate on itself. It's going to come past the knee, and as we bring it past the knee, we're going to bring it back out again, like so, and then make sure that this section here is fully extended. Sometimes it's tucked away, but generally it will get knocked and it will come out. You need that fully out like so. And let's just check the inside of the leg. We need to make sure we have this section folded over in there waiting. Just flip that lip down, and then we're going to collapse the knee into this joint. We're going to bring it in, and as it comes in, this joint is going to pass there. That's going to come in there nicely. That's going to collapse in there, slide in there nicely, sit in there perfectly square like so. And then this section here that we just folded out, that's going to come in and overlap at the top, and they are both going to just tab into the top of Cyclonus's chest. Untab these shoulder sections. You want to just flip this tab outwards like so. That now allows this shoulder section to actually extend and come over, and bring this section down like so. Close off the forearm, which just tabs in, and with the fingers all tucked in, this forearm section is actually going to slide down, and once the arm is slid all the way down, this section here will be level with this section. The fist will be closed up in here, this will tab in, and then you can just fold this section out and over, and that's going to tab into the arms, just completing those wings, and then just fold out this panel here. There are two big tabs on this section here. Just want to make sure they are pressed in firmly together. Make sure all of these tabs are in correctly, and there's also a small place to store his weapon if you choose to. Bring the gun in, make sure that the barrel is completely collapsed, and then that can just come in, and that just pegs in underneath there like so, and it doesn't affect the cockpit section either. We can then just collapse this section down, and it slides actually into the torso, and then just line everything up and tab it all in. There it is, all pegged in together. You just want to extend the nose cone if you see fit. There are also landing gear sections that can be flipped down on both the legs and on the front. And mine doesn't quite peg in as firmly as I'd like, but I may have mistransformed the leg slightly. I'm not entirely sure, but everything here all pegs in nicely. This section is in very firmly. I mean, once it's in, but that is absolutely gorgeous. What a fantastic looking figure. And of course we can just flip up the cockpit section. We have that seat there, and of course we have our tiny little Avedon figure who can just raise his arms up. We can sit him in there like so. That's incredible. Oh, I love it. And then we can just close this section off, just make sure it's all lined up, and pop that down like that. There we go. There he is, flying in the Herald of Unicron. And before we complete it, I haven't really touched on truncheon yet. Let's just take a quick look at him. It's a nice head sculpt. Nothing's painted up on him. Articulation, round, round, up, down. We have a double jointed bend at the elbow. The head, of course, does rotate left and right. We do have the ability to move the legs forwards and backwards, out to the side. A little bit of rotation there in the thigh. We have a nice deep bend at the knee. We have pivot on the feet and up and down motion. He's a nice target master. I don't actually like them being displayed in their gun modes. I like them being displayed in their bot modes, but for the purpose of the review, let's move this section down on his foot, like so. Move this section down, and then we can just join these feet together, like so, and like so. And obviously that is going to form the handle for the gun. Bring these feet up to the back like so. Bring the legs up to the front. Rotate his head backwards, and then bend in this section over. You can push the chest all the way up and around. Make sure that it passes the gun section so it's flat like so. We can then bring this section back over like this and then bring the shoulders up to the top. Use the double jointed bend, plug them into the side of the legs using the pegs, then come to the underside of the barrel and just flip out the extension piece of the firearm, and there we have him in his gun mode. It's not amazing, but it's a target master nonetheless, and of course we do have the ability to slide said target masters in to the top of Cyclonus, and the stand section just plugs in between the base of the knees, and there we have a very nice flying Cyclonus. In my opinion, this has to be one of the most screen accurate Transformers in both modes. You can tell that a lot of love has gone into the design of this. It just looks incredible. It screams animation accuracy. X-Transbots have done a fantastic job. Now, to feel, it's very heavy, it's got a lot of heft to it. Some of these panels do feel like shell forming a bit, and like I said, I can't quite have this section in together, but it may have been how I've transformed it. But overall, it feels and looks like one of their best pieces to date. Here he is alongside Scourge. Oh, they do look incredibly good together. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The transformation wasn't as complexing as I feared. Sometimes the X-Transbot transformations are terrifying. Genius, but terrifying nonetheless, and this was pretty straightforward. There's minimal clearance for some of the sections, but like I said, when you pass these two sections here through, as long as you overlap them, there's no real clearance issue there. The sliding sections here were a little bit stiff, but I imagine that's going to be rectified for the final product. All bar this rear section here, everything pegs together as it should, and the completed look is just phenomenal. I absolutely love this figure, and this could be one of the contenders for Figure of the Year. It is glorious. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And this figure's made me extremely excited for their release of Avedon. I honestly cannot wait. Hope you found this video useful. If you have, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, share it, and of course subscribe. And until next time, from myself and Eligos, thanks for watching. Goodbye.